Alright, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My hair actually looks good today because I washed it, I conditioned it, it's all great. I got makeup on. You guys are just getting the whole can of worms today. So, what I'm going to be talking about today here with Theresa, who's
I'm divorce lawyer Theresa today.
Divorce lawyer Theresa. I don't know what's going on with your hair. There's a thing happening today. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about the Mandalorian.
The Mandolin!
The Mandolin, yes. We, as of the recording of this video, we have seen episodes 1 and 2.
Of season 2.
Both of us have also watched season 1 and...
I loosely use the term loosely for me, I think. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of slept through the first season, but we'll get into all of that. It wasn't worth covering in a video, but we are going to be talking about season 2. But before we talk about that, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell to get notifications, and comment below what you guys thought of The Mandalorian. Either season 1 or season 2, whatever you want to talk about. So, let's dial it back. Why didn't we do a video on season 1 of The Mandalorian?
Because season 1 didn't have anything to talk about.
That is a big problem. I was not happy with season 1 of The Mandalorian, and I don't think a lot of people were. There is a small portion of the population that thought it was interesting, and I think the main redeeming quality about season 1 of The Mandalorian is the fact that it doesn't actually do damage to the Star Wars franchise, and at this point, people are just appreciative of anything that doesn't do damage to the franchise.
Here's who I think are fans of The Mandalorian. It actually did get a lot of views. First of all, people are watching it to watch it because it became like a mainstream thing where we have to watch The Mandalorian, we have to see Baby Yoda, we have to talk about it. But I feel like Star Wars fans who aren't completely turned off by Star Wars and want to still keep some hope in there are really watching it.
Yeah, I mean, we have this issue with the sequel trilogy being such a controversial series. Whether you liked it, for the 2% of you that liked it, or the 2 of you, really, that liked it, it still isn't really a fun topic because you can't really talk about it among Star Wars fans without it becoming a big, Trump versus Biden type of a battle.
Oh, don't mention that right now.
I'm sorry. I told myself we weren't going to talk about politics in this video, and yet here we are. But The Mandalorian is a nice distraction away from the toxicity that has become the Star Wars franchise. Like I said, you can't talk about it among fans without it becoming a huge debate that's unpleasant. Will you stop playing with your hair? What is going on here? All right, so let's fast forward now. Here's for me the reason why I am now watching season 2, because I hated season 1. I thought
season
it was
1. We need to throw this in there before because
go
we
ahead.
explained why people liked it, why we don't think it's good. It's really just kind of a nothing. It's a nothing of a show where.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there isn't an overarching plot, but it's one of those shows that just stretches its plot so thin that you watch episode upon episode and you feel like you haven't gotten anywhere. I feel like The Mandalorian, talking about season 1, so many episodes were just so quiet, and people said, well, it's the style. I'm like, it's a bad style. It's just so quiet, and it felt like we weren't going anywhere and not really developing, and it's like, okay, especially when I'm so down on Star Wars, I'm like, I really need something to pull me back in, something grounded in character and story, not just style. I need something like that to bring me back in.
Yeah, I felt like my big problem with The Mandalorian is my big problem with a lot of media when it comes to lack of story, lack of character development, and it just ends up being all that's left is a big show of special effects, and that's all that season 1 of The Mandalorian is. We never get anywhere. I still don't even know what it was about. He finds Baby Yoda, and he wants to get rid of him, and then he doesn't, and then he kind of ends up taking care of him in the end. But I don't even know what was even the point. What was I watched the whole season, and I didn't actually sleep through it. But I still don't know what was going on. All I know is visual effects here, visual effects there. Oh, look, Baby Yoda, we can sell toys.
Yeah, oh, look, Baby Yoda, we can sell toys. That should be the tagline for Mandalorian.
That's essentially what Disney is right now in a lot of its franchises, excluding the Marvel franchise, but they're less concerned about writing good stories and developing characters and more concerned about selling toys. So they make these visually stunning TV series or movies, Frozen 2, and they sell the most toys that probably any company has ever sold in the entire universe. And but then they have very superficial and lackluster stories that go with them. So let's now move on to season 2 of The Mandalorian and why we're talking about it. For me, the reason why I wanted to watch it was because they said that they were going to bring Ahsoka Tano in as a live-action character for the first time ever, and that piqued my interest.
Well, for me, I was just like, everyone's talking about this show. I do want to be happy about something related to Star Wars. I see other people are. The trailer looks a bit better, so I was like, I'll give it a try. I'll see if it holds my interest this time. And I think with that, let's talk about the first episode. So, my thoughts about the first episode of Season 2 is, I thought it was very flawed, but I actually enjoyed it. And here's why. But
here's why!
This is going to take a downturn later. But, so like I said, the first season felt like you'd watch an episode and you'd get nowhere. And that's the way a lot of TV shows are, where they just try to draw you in for an entire episode and fool you to think something's happening when it's not. And that's the problem with a lot of shows being serialized, where they're all trying to be binge shows when they're not. So here's what I like about this
let me just include that what we prefer generally is episodic shows to a certain extent, because we like there to be an individualized, cohesive story within each episode. That's why there are episodes to the show. Unless it's a binge show, and that means the whole show was released on the streaming platform all at once, which means you can watch it all day long and finish the whole thing. Versus what we would prefer when you're releasing them week to week, we need a cohesive story in each episode, unless it's a two-parter or something like that. But otherwise, you're going to lose our interest.
Well, so what I'm saying about the first episode is I felt like...
The first episode of Season 2.
Yes, the first episode of Season 2, this is what I want shows to be. I felt like it has its overarching story where he's looking for other Mandalorians and he's trying to deliver Baby Yoda back to his people. That's the overarching narrative. But
so first of all, the first plus here is that we now have a goal and an understandable goal. In this season, we're trying to find Baby Yoda's people, and we're trying to return him to his kind. That's what we're doing.
Okay, so then the second thing about it was, it had a solid, it was kind of what I want TV to be now, if you're going to do it episode week by week, where you can have your overarching story, that's fine, but also have a satisfying episode in and of itself. So this one is just about, he meets a guy with Mandalorian armor, they make a deal that he'll give him back the armor if he helps him destroy this dragon, and they have to team up with Tusken Raiders first time in forever to try to destroy this sand dragon or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And so it's not brilliant storytelling or anything, but it's a cohesive story in a 45-minute time, and it's got things,
and it has a beginning and an end within the episode, while also moving on with a larger story throughout the season.
And something positive I'll also say is, it had familiar things that made me feel like it was Star Wars, like Tatooine, Tusken Raiders, armor, and all that stuff, but it was familiar without feeling like in your face. Remember that, guys? Remember that? Yeah. Do you remember that? That's Star Wars.
That guy that walked in between Leia and Han, and
he's gay.
In one scene, he's gay, and he has a whole backstory about being discriminated against because he's gay and all this. No one cares. No one cares.
It was good on those things. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the best plot ever. It wasn't the best story ever. It just checked off those boxes where it's like you actually do have a story, and it's something that feeds into your overarching narrative, but it doesn't. It's not like you feel like you haven't gotten anywhere, and that you feel like you're just waiting for the next episode. You've just been baited for the next episode. You've got a story, a beginning, middle, and end in one episode.
Yeah, and that's what I would prefer. Now, Theresa's evaluation is basically correct. It's the same as mine. I thought I appreciated there being a cohesive story and a discernible goal. We're trying to find Yoda's people. The only other complaint I have against this first episode of the second season, is that for some reason the Mandalorian thinks that finding other Mandalorians will help him find Yoda's people. And that's not really clear why he thinks that. And so that's a little bit of a plot hole for me, just because, okay, we do have a discernible goal. We're trying to find Yoda's people. But also, he's trying to find other Mandalorians, and that's kind of part of the puzzle pieces he's trying to find. And I just don't understand why finding Mandalorians is going to help find Yoda's people. So in the first episode, he finds a guy wearing Mandalorian armor, and it's implied that it's Boba Fett's armor, and it also, we see at the end, spoiler alert, we see at the end Tamira Morrison playing Boba Fett at the end of that episode. I don't know if he's going to come back in this season at all. We might find out, and he says, hey, give me back my Mandalorian armor, blah, blah, blah. So that was fine. He finds the armor, he makes a deal, and then he gets the armor at the end of the episode, and then in the next episode... episode 2, we'll just move right on to episode 2. He makes a deal to transport this alien creature whose husband knows where there might be another Mandalorian or several. He has to transport her and her eggs to where her husband is so that they can make children. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, so I have some complaints about the second episode, but I want to hear Theresa's thoughts first.
I feel that
I literally just watched it right before this.
I don't feel that this episode was a dumpster fire. I just felt like it was going back to the problems I had with the first season, where it's a lot of quiet, it's a lot of we get to point A to point B to point C, and I feel like nothing's actually happening. Yeah,
it's a lot of visual and no talking, not even really any. Sometimes there isn't even any music. You're just listening to the sound of the ship.
Yeah, that's boring.
And looking at shots, and I'm just like.
And then we crash land, we have to fix the ship. That's not interesting at all.
No,
and I felt
really.
like crash landing the ship is not helping us move forward in the story now.
No, it's just stalling everything and dragging it out because we wanted to have 8 episodes.
It was only interesting for me when they see the spiders. And I know it's like superficial action, but just to get a different creature and they have to run from this creature, to get that was interesting just on a superficial, well, here's some action and this is exciting to watch.
Yeah, because you're just craving action in this show. It's just, let's just please do something.
I mean, there were some things happening, but it's just
this really was a throwaway episode that we didn't get any. It set things up, and then we didn't get anywhere.
Yeah, it's just like we could have gone after the first episode. You could have done so. If you didn't have anywhere to go just yet, you should have made a better self-contained story, because this was just very quiet and very not much of a plot, very long and drawn out. And I've got to say this. For Baby Yoda being just the baby penguin darling of the world, he commits genocide in this episode. Genocide. So the alien creature says, okay, our species is almost extinct. I have to deliver these eggs.
You're mistaken, because I just watched the episode. It's not her species that's almost extinct. It's her line. So her species is not going extinct, but the line of the family from her and her husband will end if they don't procreate.
Okay, I'm just saying.
It's important that the eggs don't get eaten.
Baby Yoda sucking eggs, literally, after he's made so cute, and then he goes to this planet and he eats another thing right out of the egg, which almost gets them killed because these spiders are running after them. It's like maybe Baby Yoda's not so cute. Maybe he just keeps eating other people's species.
Grandmother taught us to suck the eggs.
This is Star Wars. You can't just eat other people's eggs.
Oh, seriously. I mean, Gollum and Baby Yoda should get together and suck the eggs with grandmother or whatever.
So it's
a Lord of the Rings reference. Read the books.
This episode makes me concerned because the first episode I'm like, oh, maybe The Mandalorian is going to pick itself up and get better and be a great show. And now I see.
And the first episode wasn't even that good. It just satisfied me on certain certain boxes were checked for me.
Yeah, I'm just saying. This episode makes me feel like, oh, we're just going back to the problems with the first season, and having it, stylized as a Western, that can be good if you have a good story, but not if that's all it is. And so this episode is like, well, I'm not so much looking forward to the next one because I don't want it to be just more of the same.
So I just want to articulate, and this is more of a personal preference thing than it is a stylistic thing, but when you have characters like the man that was wearing the Mandalorian armor in the first episode, or characters like the woman who likes to babysit Baby Yoda and who's very boisterous, loud, and obnoxious, I hate that. I hate the perpetuation of the stereotype that being Western or being country means that you have to be kind of dumb and hick.
And loud.
And loud also. Like,
That lady who keeps fawning over Baby Yoda reminds me of one of those quest givers in a video game where you just hate to talk to her.
I know, yes!
But you have to because she's going to give you your quest. And you have to.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's such a good analogy. But my point is, I think that's a stereotype that people in the city have of people who live in places that are not as urban. And I find it offensive. And as somebody who's lived in both places, I can say that I think a lot of people in the more rural areas would be offended by that portrayal of them. And just as people in the city probably would be offended by some of the portrayals that people, or some of the stereotypes that people in the rural areas probably stereotype them with. So I really don't appreciate that. I don't find it appealing at all. And it's a turnoff to the show. I don't want to see characters like this. I want to see real characters.
I hope that lady gets shot.
Me too. I hate her. Just get her out of the show. She's like, I want medium rare. I'm a real woman. I'm here with my pants hiked up to my chest. Oh my gosh. I got big hair. Hey, I have big hair and I know how to style it. So there. Anyway.
I don't.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so that is our review for The Mandalorian Season 2, the first 2 episodes. I'm hoping it gets better. I'm tired of saying that about things.
I know.
I'm tired of saying that about things.
I'm tired of saying that about 2020, but we're still here. Anyway, so if you guys like this video, please give it a like. Ring the bell to get notifications. Subscribe to the channel. Comment below what you guys thought about The Mandalorian Season 2, the first 2 episodes. And I like Theresa said, I hope that this season continues to get better. I am looking forward to seeing Ahsoka potentially as a live-action character. I hope they do a good job. I really don't care if they don't, but, you know, this is what we've got to watch. We don't have much to watch anymore. We have nothing to live for other than The Mandalorian. Alright, so, like all of my videos, watch 10 more. Please do. It really helps my channel, and we will talk to you guys on the next video.